Buckle up, boys, because the Deadites are rising again, and this time they're raining down fire. You may have already heard this, but the next installment in the iconic Evil Dead franchise has been officially titled Evil Dead Burn, and us horror fans have actively started bracing for another blood-soaked, nerve-shredding ride into the grotesque. After the critically acclaimed Evil Dead Rise reignited interest in the long-running series, expectations were truly sky-high for what came next. While plot details are still tightly under wraps, the fiery new title hints at a scorching, possibly apocalyptic twist in the Deadite mythology. So, question is, could we be headed for hell on earth, or even worse? With Sam Raimi, the creator of the franchise, still involved behind the scenes, and the creative team teasing more practical effects and brutal terror, Evil Dead Burn is honestly shaping up to be one of the most anticipated horror releases of the year. Now, we're ready to discuss everything we know so far about the next chapter in this undead saga, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Now, without wasting another moment, let's begin. What do we know about the current status of the film's production? Evil Dead Burn will be the 6th theatrically released film in the Evil Dead franchise and is apparently going to be written and directed by Sebastian Vanacek. Florent Bernard is also going to be one of the writers of the film, which is currently set to release on the 24th of July, 2026. So, the new course for the Evil Dead franchise was for Sam Raimi to hand-select hot up-and-coming filmmakers to put their own spin on the Deadites, which has been working exceedingly well for the bloody saga. If you remember, Fede Alvarez had directed his own take on the original classic in 2013, which paved the way for Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise in 2023, almost 10 years after the remake came out. Anyways, circling back to the newest release within the franchise, it was actually back on the 5th of February 2024 when it was first reported that French filmmaker Sebastian Vanacek had been handpicked by Evil Dead creators Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert to write and direct a brand new spin-off for the franchise. The next day, Vanacek gave fans a bit more insight during an interview and revealed that Warner Bros., which owns New Line Cinema, wanted the film to stand completely apart from previous Evil Dead entries. And to top that off, the good news is Sam Raimi gave Vanacek full creative freedom to shape the story his way. Back then, Vanacek mentioned that he was aiming to begin shooting by late 2024 or early 2025, with a tentative release planned for October 2025. He also teased that the movie would follow a French protagonist who spoke English and would be thrown into a story surrounded by American characters, all while keeping a distinctly French cinematic vibe. Then, ultimately, on December 9th, 2024, Vanacek shared the official script cover on Instagram, revealing the iconic title, Evil Dead Burn, along with a new release date in 2026. Going through most of his interviews, Sebastian told the studio that he really wanted to make a nasty film, a film that really hurts, from which you are coming away feeling tested. So, to bring his vision to life, Vanacek is apparently going to put all the horror that he has inside to make this film. He wants Evil Dead Burn to feel cathartic, and if he can do justice to the franchise with his vision, Sebastian can continue to make films after it. If not, Sebastian claims that he would move on to something other than horror. But considering how 1981's The Evil Dead is famous for delivering on its promise of being the ultimate experience in grueling terror, Vanacek is really setting himself up to fill some big shoes, and we sure hope he meets our expectations with this new installment. So far, it would not be wrong to expect highly from Evil Dead Burn, because the filmmaker is penning the screenplay with the same guy he co-wrote Infested with. What do we know about the cast of the film? Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with Sebastian Vanacek, he made his feature directorial debut with Vermin, or Vermine, aka Infested, which focused on the residents of a rundown French apartment building attempting to make it out alive when an army of venomous, rapidly reproducing spiders invade. The movie garnered a lot of acclaim and even won Best Picture and Best Director in its North American premiere at Fantastic Fest. In fact, it was also invited to the Sitges Film Festival, where it earned a nomination for Best Motion Picture and won a special jury prize. But whether Sebastian's new movie will bring back Bruce Campbell's Ash Williams is unclear. Although the actor has indicated that we haven't seen the last of the original Evil Dead trilogy's chainsaw-wielding protagonist following the series finale of Star's Ash vs. the Evil Dead, so there's a chance chance he may appear after all. According to what Campbell said while promoting Evil Dead Rise back in 2023, the stories will apparently progress a little more now. Back then, he mentioned how the franchise is going to try and do more films like every 2 or 3 years rather than every 10 years. That idea was how Sam Raimi started working with his brother Ivan to create an overall Bible that will give future writers and directors an idea of where the franchise should go next to potentially tie in some of these stories. So it's going to be a little more tied in as the years go by, but because it's all about the books, it could be a book in the past or a book in the future, and we really don't know anything because it's yet to be determined. Anyways, Sebastian Vanecek's Evil Dead Burn is preparing to enter production in New Zealand, and all we know is that Dune Part 2's Swiss actress Suhelia Yacoub is set to play the lead role. There's also another Evil Dead film in the making. Surprisingly, aside from Evil Dead Burn, we also have another Evil Dead movie in the works after Ghost House Pictures recently hired the last stop in Yuma County's Francis Galuppi to write and direct the next edition of the franchise, which doesn't yet have a title. This was probably in line with Raimi's decision to handpick directors to helm standalone entries into the series that he created back in '81. You should know that much like Fede Alvarez's 2013 Evil Dead reboot and Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise from 2023, Evil Dead Burn is going to be a standalone sequel, set in the same universe as the Bruce Campbell movies, but with a new cast of characters and setting. As we previously discussed, the franchise creators wanted to release one anthological Evil Dead film every 2 or 3 years, which is probably why 2 months after Vanecek was announced as one of the Evil Dead franchise's next helmers, it was reported that Francis Galuppi is working on his own standalone chapter. The writer and director of the 2023 crime thriller The Last Stop in Yuma County reportedly developed the idea on his own, which he then brought to Raimi and Tapper. But as of now, there's no solid information regarding the plot or even a release date window. Still, 2 back-to-back movies being released from this franchise is nothing less than a score. What does the title Evil Dead Burn really mean? Honestly, we kinda love the name Evil Dead Burn. In fact, we think it might be the best title for an installment in this franchise yet, but we really wonder what inspired it. If you'll remember, Evil Dead Rise had a clever double meaning in how it referred to the return of the eponymous malevolent spirits and the fact that the story took place in an LA high-rise, which has us wondering if the follow-up will take a similar route. Maybe this time, instead of a chainsaw-handed hero, we'll be following a protagonist who wields a flamethrower against the Deadites, meaning we would literally see the Evil Dead burn. Or could this mean something a little more apocalyptic, and the film will show a new chapter in the Necronomicon that brings forth literal hell on Earth, meaning that the Evil Dead are the ones perpetuating the burn on a global scale? If it really is either one of these ideas, or perhaps both, so far this film sounds great to us. Is it possible for Evil Dead Burn to bring back Bruce Campbell? We have zero qualms about an Evil Dead movie without Ash, who, as you know, was the hero of the original trilogy and a character that Bruce Campbell retired from playing, at least in live-action appearances, after the cancellation of his Starz series, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. The actor, who had produced the previous installments of the franchise, is also producing this sequel, but we're hoping to see the icon involved with the film in front of the camera in some fashion. You might remember Bruce making a fun vocal cameo in Evil Dead Rise as a voice on a vinyl recording that may or may not have been a reprisal of Ash Williams' Out of Time. However, considering that this is meant to be another standalone, we would be fine with him making a brief appearance in an entirely different role, maybe even as a really ugly, nearly unrecognizable Deadite. Honestly, his live-action return on screen would be just so iconic and nostalgic at the same time. Just think about it. Will Evil Dead Burn go heavy on the Easter egg? Back in 2023, after Evil Dead Rise made it to the big screen, I was hoping to see less of old references to the previous installments in the future. I mean, sure, the Easter eggs in Evil Dead Rise were a lot of fun, but at some points it simply felt unnecessary and egregious, if we're being honest. Of course, we're totally open to the idea of seeing Vanecek pay his tribute to Sam Raimi's original films, but we think we would prefer if they were more subtle than, say, a character quoting one of Ash's catchphrases. And yes, we're indeed talking about Lily Sullivan's Beth telling the Marauder to come get some. I believe the filmmaker's main focus should be crafting something that honors the franchise's new strategy to be an anthology horror franchise with a story that stands out from the rest of the pack as much as possible. But again, we don't want to get too caught up in guessing games. If Sam Raimi personally chose Sebastian Vanecek to carry the Evil Dead legacy forward with Evil Dead Burn, we're definitely willing to trust that we're in good hands. Raimi knows the world better than anyone, so if he sees something special in Vanecek, there's a very good chance that we're in for something truly pretty groovy. Now, what are your thoughts and theories about the upcoming movies in the Evil Dead franchise? Do you guys think we'll be lucky enough to see Bruce Campbell bring back Ash to the big screen? Let us know your thoughts, theories, and point of view in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.